This video is going to talk about diagnosing cold outreach campaigns. So essentially your campaign is not working how you want it to. And so how do you handle that? What do you look at? What do you change? This video is going to cover exactly that. So let's get straight into it. The first thing is a low reply rate. Now, typically, if your total reply rates for your campaigns is under 1%, there are most likely some severe issues when it comes to your email deliverability and or your list accuracy. So the first thing you can basically do at this point is to start doing some deliverability diagnostics. So looking at blacklists, are your domains blacklisted? Are your warm-up emails landing in spam? If you do inbox placement tests, are these emails landing? And so you can start by looking at that. You can also put your copy through a spam word checker. You can use Mail Meteor's spam checker on their website, and you can see if you have a lot of spam words in the copy. So you want to check for any of this stuff. And if you see that your domains might be burnt, then you can go ahead and replace them. But if you see a lot of spam words in your copy, you can change the copy and this might actually fix the issue. And you can also just like completely change the copy anyways, even if it doesn't have spam words, because maybe that particular copy is getting flagged by the email servers and this could be causing your low reply rates. Also with list accuracy, sometimes I see people, they launch lists that are like super inaccurate and only like 30% of the leads on the list are actually qualified. And that will obviously make your reply rate extremely low. So do some spot checking, look through like 50 random companies on the list and make sure that, at least 80% of them are qualified or more ideally. And if that's the case, then you can probably say with confidence that your list is not the problem. But if it's under, you can say, okay, there might be a list problem here. The next thing is if your reply rate is over 1% but under 2%. And this is typically not a territory where you have major deliverability issues. So what you want to go ahead and do is basically compare to see if positive reply rate is good. Because in some cases, you can have a 1.5% reply rate and you have a sufficient amount of positive replies and you're getting meetings and there's no problem at all, in which case you can just kind of keep going. So you want to identify if the reply rate is actually an issue, right? But if you're dealing with like a 10% positive reply rate or under, and you have a 1% or 1.5% reply rate, probably that's not the best stats for you, depending on the specific case. Also, you still should, in this case, test for potential deliverability issues. It could still be that there are lingering deliverability issues, and if you fix those, you can get it to 3, 4, even 5%. Also, try to make your email shorter. Maybe it's just too long and people don't want to respond to the email. This could be another thing as well. And in some cases, people have reported that ESPs like Microsoft and Google, they're using AI to scan the content of the emails. And if you're making very long emails, it might be more obvious to the AI that Google and Microsoft have that this is a sales email. And if you make it shorter, it's going to be harder to draw that conclusion and it's going to be more likely to inbox, essentially. So there are kind of two different benefits here to trying, or when you try to make the email shorter, and also make the email more readable. Use, shorter sentences, cut all the jargon out. This is going to make the reply rate higher because people don't have time to read super long emails with a bunch of jargon in it. So you can use the Hemingway editor. If you search on Google, this is an editor that will allow you to see if your email is readable. The next thing is a low positive reply rate. So I would typically define that as under 10%, depending on the scenario. If it's under 10% positive reply rate, probably there are issues with the messaging. So what I do is change the positioning of your offer and change the pain point that you mention in the email. These would be the first things that I'd tweak, because those are some of the biggest things that can really move the needle when it comes to the positive reply rate. I have a whole video about structuring your offer and how to position it. So you can go ahead and watch that. I think it's called How to Structure Your Agency Offer. You can search for that on my channel. Now, if that doesn't help, try changing the call to action. Make the call to action more easy to say yes to. If you're pitching a call in the first email, this can sometimes be an ask that's too big. And if that's the case, you're going to get a low positive reply rate. And, depending on the scenario, that could actually be fine. Like, because we ultimately want to book a call. So if you're getting a 10% reply rate, 10% of people that are replying are booking calls, that's great in some cases. So not necessarily, an issue if you're asking for a call and you're getting a 10% positive reply rate. But in other cases, if it's like getting super low because of that, change the call to action, make it more easy to say yes to, and then nurture them over time with lead magnets or just, having a conversation with them on email, calling them, etc. If that doesn't help, then you can try just completely like changing the offer entirely. So just whatever you're saying, offer something different. Or this could also be changing the job title of the targets. Because if none of these things above work, there's a more fundamental issue that you want to sort of look at. We've already, talked about changing the positioning, changing the pain points, also changing the call to action. So this is something you want to do at this point. You want to just change the offer and basically just offer something different. So, if you have a low conversion from positive reply to booked meeting, this is in most cases, I would say, because of slow speed to lead. So, try to get back to people in under 1 minute after they respond. Do not wait 24 hours or 48 hours. This is a complete recipe for disaster. And also try using multi channel. So, for example, at Scale Sprints for our clients, we basically build them a system where we follow up with people automatically on LinkedIn. We also call them within 1 minute. We send them an email within 1 minute. They're just getting bombarded the moment they respond with interest. And this is going to make you stand out. And this is going to book you 3 times more meetings. Also, you should be following up longer, right? So create a 90-day follow-up flow for each positive response because a lot of them will convert down the line if you do that. So just keep following up with people. They already expressed interest. Clearly something resonated. So you want to just basically do a 90-day flow where each email is handling one objection at a time. You can take it from the most frequent objection in the beginning, handle it in one email. Next, or the second most common objection, handle that in the second email, and so on and so forth, until you've covered all the most common objections. And there's a chance that you're going to hit that one objection that they're worrying about, and that basically is the core reason why they're not booking a call. So this is a great thing to do. Another thing is also bad SEO and website. So in a lot of cases, right, people will respond with interest, but they're not ready to commit to a call because they respond with interest. You're like, hey, here's some information. When do you have time to talk? And so they're like, okay, do I want to talk to this guy? And they go on Google, they search for your company name. They don't really find anything. It kind of seems like you're an anonymous company. And they check if you have any socials, but they cannot find anything. They go to your website and it's super confusing. There is no what we do section. There is no about us section. There is no next step section, right? It doesn't flow like a real landing page should, and they just leave, right? And they don't book a call. So you want to take care of your peripherals as well, which is SEO and website, which is not necessarily directly connected to your email campaigns, but it's going to affect the results from your email campaign. Also, this one here, so low show up rate and low quality of calls. So typically, this is because of a bad pre call flow. What you want to go ahead and do is you want to send emails and SMS messages prior to the call, sending them valuable information that they need or that will basically prep them for the call. And also, this multi channel follow up when you do SMS messages as well will increase the chance that they show up. So, yeah, just send more pre-call emails. Like, don't worry about sending too many. If you're sending 5 before the call, I think that's good. You can even send 6, and then do 2 to 3 SMS reminders as well. And then also, what you can do is send a personalized LinkedIn message once you connect with them on LinkedIn, saying, hey, and actually writing this manually. On LinkedIn and saying, hey, looking forward to our call, whatever the case might be. And then also what you can do is film a personalized Loom video for them, or even like an iPhone video, and just say, hey, looking forward to the call. It just brings a lot more personality and personalization to the whole flow if you do that. So obviously it's going to take a bit of time, but it's going to increase the show up rate. So if you have problems with show up rate and you have low quality of calls because prospects show up unprepared and they don't know anything about your company when they show up to the call, these are things that can fix that issue. And again, I'm going to mention this here on this slide too, like bad SEO on website, because they will check this stuff, or most people will check this stuff before they show up on the call. And also another one is calls being booked too far out into the future. So put a restriction that they can only book like 2 to 3 days away from the booking date and not any further, because they're going to forget about you. They're going to cancel the call. They're going to no show. There's no need to it. If they genuinely want to book 2 weeks out, like, they're not interested. Right? Nobody does that. Nobody who's actually truly interested in potentially buying something would do it 2 weeks out. That's just not conceivable, because if they're a CEO or owner or something and they deeply care about this issue, they would try to solve it quickly. So that's pretty much it for this video here. Hope it was helpful. If you're looking for a company to install the cold outreach system you see on the screen right now, this is basically the culmination of all my learnings of being in the cold email or cold outreach space for 4 years, sending over 10 million cold emails. We can install the system directly inside your company. We work primarily with agencies, but we also do work with other B2B companies. So if you're interested in that, you can check out scalesprint.io, and I'll leave links in the description and the pinned comment. So thanks for watching and have a good day.